Hello, friends. It is Thursday, September 19th of 2019, which means it's 91919. That's pretty wild. 9 and 1 is 10. 9 and 1 is 10. And 9 is 29. Something magical is going on. We had the full moon on Friday. The weather here in North Jersey has been unbelievably beautiful. There's literally no clouds. Definitely cool and chilly at night, but beautiful, beautiful, beautiful during the day. It's a good day to be alive, ladies and gentlemen. It's a good day to be alive. In fact, every day is a good day to be alive. And the days that we think that are not the good days to be alive, those are the best days to be alive. Because there's usually something that we need to learn in that process. You know, this is episode 3, I suppose, of the podcast. And it's been very fun to do these. It's been fun to share. It's been fun to talk. And give you guys a little glimpse of what's going on up in this mind of mine. It's could be kind of wild and crazy sometimes. It's the way that I think about stuff. But I wanted to share this story that happened a couple weeks ago because it really moved me, and it has kind of stayed with me. I was at the grocery store here in town. This was a couple of weeks ago now, and I went in. This is a Wegmans here in Montvale. It's a fantastic, giant grocery store. And they have like this cafeteria. They have like burgers and sandwiches and so forth. And I had ordered some lunch, and I went to go kind of sit down to wait for my order to be completed. And I always like to pay attention to people, like wherever I go. I definitely like to people watch for sure. And I noticed this girl, this young girl, maybe 10, 11, 12 years old, and she appeared to be physically disabled and perhaps mentally disabled in some ways as well. And she was an adorable girl. She was walking over to get some napkins, and behind her was a man who appeared to be to me like, I don't know, maybe mid to late 50s, bigger guy, 6 foot, maybe 6'1", kind of a bigger guy with a shaved head, and just walking with this girl, and it appeared to be maybe it was her father or grandfather or some kind of guardian, of some kind. It's hard to really to know exactly who everybody is. Obviously, we make the best we can with what we see. But what moved me so deeply was I looked at the man's face as he was kind of walking with this girl. And he was so present and happy to be with her and taking care of her in that moment. It was this look of just somebody who appears to look and feel like they are doing what they're supposed to be doing and fully surrendering to it and fully accepting it. And not only that, but like loving it. And the love that this man had in his face and his body in taking care of this girl, whether it's his granddaughter or daughter or who knows who she is, was so profound. They were the only, like when I was watching them, it was obvious to me that they were, in their world, the only two people in the room. I mean, she really loved this man really loved her, and he opened up a bottle of water for her and put a straw in it and handed her the bottle with the straw, and they kind of had this They were laughing with each other and smiling. It was like the love of a father and a daughter, a love of a grandfather and a granddaughter. It was just this beautiful, beautiful love. And you could see like the unconditional love that this man had, where there wasn't anything that this girl needed to do for him. Just by her being who she was giving this guy what he wanted. Just by her being who she was and allowing him to help her was giving him exactly what he wanted. It was this really, truly, this love with zero conditions. It was really, really moving to me. And the man to me represented like what I feel like every man is destined to be, which is strong, powerful, but gentle and sweet and kind and compassionate. The ability to, like, this guy was a big guy. Like, he was 6'1", over 200 pounds, 220, not in shape. He was in shape. He was a guy who lifted weights. And he was later in his 50s, and he took care of himself. And you could see that this guy could, if he wanted to, could fuck you up. But there was like this kindness and love in his eye. And I think as men, me identifying as a man in this life, it was moving for me. It was moving to see a man with that kind of size and physical power to be kind of that gentle and sweet with somebody. And it gave me just a lot of hope. And those little things that I see, like, they give me so much hope. They give me hope because, and I don't even like that word hope. It's more like, it's feedback. It's like, yeah, things are good. Things are good. Like, I'm super optimistic of the way things are. I know, okay, I'm aware of the fucked up things that are going on. I'm also, in the same way that I'm aware of the fucked up things that may go on in my head, or the way that I might treat myself or treat someone else in the past. Like, I'm aware of that shadow that we're all living in. That there's some dark shit. Yeah, there's some dark shit. There's some dark shit going on here in America. There's some dark shit going on all over the world. There's dark stuff going on right now in your office. Because where there's dark stuff, there's people. And where there's people, there's hearts. And where there's hearts, that means that there's some broken hearts and some open hearts. And we're all in some phase of that process. Some of us are further along than others in terms of where our hearts are. How open are our hearts, or how closed and defended are our hearts. But overall, to me, I think we're doing pretty good. Overall, for 7 billion people, and if you just look at America, if I just look at New York, for instance, New York City, what is there, 8 million people in New York? Total in the city, New York City, all the boroughs. People get along relatively well in New York. If you ever go to Manhattan or you're on a subway, it's amazing the way everything seems to flow. There's really no problem. Every now and then there may be somebody who wants to cause problems and do some things that really hurt people or terrorize people. Yeah, it happens for sure. But to think that that's the way it is every day, all the time, everywhere is not true. Most of what's going on is that there's human beings that want to live a life that's as full as it possibly could be. They want to be as nice as they can be. Like when I go out to dinner, or if I go out into New York City for a night, I look around, people want to be there. People are happy. There's every race, age, ethnicity, gender identification. There's every kind of religion is represented. You walk down the streets of Midtown Manhattan, at any time of day, and you will experience many different people, many different colors, many different races, many different cultures, many different religions, but we're all the same. We're just humans. We're humans. And some of us are from different parts of the globe, but we're all humans. We're all from the earth. We come from the earth. We're going right back down into the earth. We're of the dust. We're going back to the dust. And to spend any time on a delusion that I'm different than them and they are different than us, that is an illusion. That is not what is really there. That is a story. That is a narrative. That is not what's actually there. What's actually there is another person just like you, living another life just like you, except they were born physically in a different location. And so they look a little bit different, but they're still a human. There are no foreign humans. We're all human. We all come from our mothers. And we all go back down into the earth when we're done. In some way. Our bodies. Anyway. So, to me, that kind of, that's what I see. And it makes me happy. It makes me happy to see people get along. We do well. You go to the beach. You go to a pool. I think that's where people are great. Caroline Casey, who is a astrologer and podcaster as well, and she's a brilliant kind of spiritual guide as well. She talks about how well humans do down at water. Like you watch humans down playing on a beach or by the water, really kind of brings the best out of us. So these little areas of life where I just see us flourishing as human beings make me really, really happy, and I'm super optimistic. I'm optimistic not because of what I'm seeing, although that is helping my optimism. My optimism is coming from myself. I'm just trying to take care of my own universe and my own planet, which is me, as best as I possibly can. And what that looks like to me is it starts with sleep. Like, I try to get sleep. Some people talk about how there's no time to sleep and you got to work hard and, sleep when you're dead. Maybe, but it starts with good rest so that I can wake up and feel refreshed and rejuvenated and I can start my day. And I like to take care of myself when I wake up. I like to exercise. I like to go for a run. I like to lift weights. I like to stretch. I like to do yoga. I like to hit the bag. I like to swing the kettlebells. I like to just do movements. I like to dance. And then I like to eat healthy as I can. And I try to be as kind as I can to people when I'm in the world. I try to be as kind as I can to myself, even when I'm showing ugly parts of myself. I mean, that's why I'm optimistic, because I don't judge myself, and of course, there's always times where you judge yourself. But when I'm judging myself, I'm seeing that that's not me. I'm just taking care of myself, and I'm treating myself like I'm my own best friend, like I'm my own lover, like I'm my own husband, my own partner. And from there, I go into the world. And from that place, I just feel like I'm a better person. I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, and I'll never get there. But moment to moment, when I pay attention, I can do a pretty good job at taking care of myself, taking care of the moment, and taking care of people around me. There's always things that can go wrong, and they do. But overall, when I take care of myself, when I say yes when I mean it, and I say no when I mean it, and I stand up for myself, and I stand up for others, and I take care of myself, and I take care of others in a non-selfish, unconditional way. When I allow myself to be who I really am, and when I allow myself to really lift people up, and not damn anybody, and not judge anybody, everybody's where they are. I want to love and support and lift up everybody. That's how I feel. And so when I'm out in the world, I'm optimistic because I think, well, if I'm thinking this way, then surely somebody else must be. And to me, it feels good to bring that gift of optimism to the world. It actually just feels good on its own. I don't necessarily need the feedback of somebody else being optimistic, although when that happens, it feels amazing. But just the gift of being optimistic and the gift of bringing that optimism to a moment or to people or wherever I am, that feels good. Like, I'm good with that. So, there's nothing else to do most of the time except to just bring that love and bring that space. I think there's a lot of positive things to listen to and to consume these days. I think there's some great podcasts with people that are being really honest and authentic and genuine and positive and upbeat. I think we have more of an opportunity now to fill ourselves with hearty content, not junk. Look, I'm no different from everybody. I love ice cream. I love to, like, if I could, I would eat a gallon of ice cream every day. I can't do it because my stomach can't digest food like that anymore, but I love it. But I also know that it's not good for me to eat all the time. I love Snickers ice cream bars, but there's high fructose corn syrup in that shit. I can't eat that shit all the time. But like once every few months, after a hard-ass workout, I'll grab myself a Snickers ice cream bar. But if I had that Snickers ice cream bar every single day, it wouldn't be good for me anymore. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with watching something on TV that's a little bit like brain candy. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with watching the news or understanding what's going on. We should all be informed. But there should be a balance. And there's plenty of positive things to consume. There's so many opportunities to be learning all the time. I learned more from listening to podcasts and listening to books than I did ever in school trying to be in a classroom taking notes, listening to a teacher. No offense to anything of school. It just didn't work for me. I learned by doing audio. I learned by repetition, and I learned by doing audio. I learned by listening to things. I learned by doing things. I don't learn by textbooks and lectures. It's a wonderful, wonderful time to be curious and to be challenging yourself to learn more and to understand more. There's never been a time that's offered more accessibility to resource than now. 20 years ago, if you didn't know something, you would have to look it up in the encyclopedia. And 20 years ago was 1999. So you either had an actual hard copy encyclopedia or you had like Encarta, which was the CD-ROM version of the dictionary, or Britannica was on CD back then too. But you had to look it up on like a reference. You know, the way that we understood astronomy and the way that we understood physics, and especially quantum physics. I mean, the way that we understand the human brain and the body, like there's been so much evolution in how we are researching things and what we are finding, that right now all of that information is available. I mean, just the other day I was listening to Joe Rogan Experience, and he had on, oh gosh, I apologize. I'm totally blanking on the gentleman's name, but he's a brilliant geologist who for years has been studying the pyramids, the Great Pyramid and the Sphinx, and has been proving that, or working to prove, or at least working to create awareness of the fact that the pyramids may be much older than they seem to be. So it's just an example of something that we've all read in textbooks and we've read in our history books, and we're told certain things, but there's just so much more information now. There's more information, and it's more accessible than it's ever been. So there's really no excuse to not learn more. There's no excuse to be thinking about everything the exact same way. If you're still thinking about mostly just about everything I've ever thought, I've reconsidered over the course of the last 20 years. And then especially in the last 5 years, I mean, there's been just a massive correction. I've just become aware of other things, of other possibilities. I've become aware of the world in this way. And I think we're all going through that in our own way. We all just, everything that we do, whether it's a new job or it's a new relationship or, a challenging drive to work, it's there to kind of teach us something and to show us something if we're paying attention. And if we are, it'll expand our consciousness and expands our awareness so that we can see what is going on. And it's scary at first because when you see what's really there, sometimes it can freak you out. I mean, it freaked me out. I talked about this on one of my other podcasts, the intensity of the world and just how real everything really is. It's real. And we're super vulnerable. And so that intensity and that vulnerability can be really scary. At first, when the veil is lifted and you start to see how everything really is. But then that's replaced with a peace. There's peace because there ain't nothing to worry about. We were already doomed. The minute you walk out the door, you're done. And every day that you get is a blessing. It really, truly is. So that's where I'm at. And by the way, this is not automatic for me. I'm 35 years old. I have my habits. I've got my momentum of my life. I've been doing things, even though I like to change things up, we still carry with us the baggage of the past. And this stuff I'm working on every single day. Every day. I'm just becoming more aware of what I'm doing so that I can have more fun. I can enjoy life more. I can enjoy my experiences more. I can enjoy the world, enjoy nature, enjoy my body, enjoy my lovers, enjoy my friends, enjoy my family, enjoy my music, my art, nature, strangers, other countries. It's really fun to think about what's possible when we step away from the old stories and the old patterns. We consider the possibility that this thing that we're so certain it's this way, we're definitely certain it's this way, it's 100% got to be this way. What if we consider the possibility that that is a way, but it's not the only way? What if there's another way to do this? Whatever it might be. Maybe it's the way that you paint. Maybe every time you go to paint your house, you have the same problems. Maybe you do something different. Maybe you're not looking at it the right way. Whatever it is, there might be another way to do it. And I feel like when I pay attention to my curiosity and my intuition, sometimes it leads me off into these weird directions where I'm like, where are you going? It's kind of like, it's like when your GPS tells you to go down a road and you're like, this doesn't seem right. But then you end up, where you need to be. It's kind of like that. It's like, okay, I guess it wants me to go do this, but that's not what I've been doing. And to just kind of that process of getting out of the pattern is difficult because it's a bit of a loop. It's sort of like when you drive to work and then you wake up and you're at work and you're like, holy shit, I don't even remember driving here. Like, how many times have you gotten somewhere and you're like, wow, I kind of zoned out. I don't even know how I got here. It's sort of like that. But I think that intuition knows something that our human little monkey brain meat suit doesn't know. There's something that our intuition and our spirit and our heart, whatever words you want to use, I'm not trying to be woo-woo here. Just, spirit, the life force, whatever is the light behind everything we see. That's what I'm talking about. That's the intuition. It's connected to that thing. Some people call it God. Whatever it is, it's like our intuition knows, but our body or human doesn't really know. And so that's why there's this conflict at times where maybe our intuition's telling us to go one way, but our gut's telling us to go one way, but our mind is coming in and no, that's not part of the plan. That's not part of the pattern. We haven't been doing that. We've been doing it this way, and this way. And I think it takes a lot of courage to be able to stop what you're doing and look at that and be like, yeah, I know that this is the way that I've been doing it, and I'm going to try something else, and I'm going to give myself permission to make a mistake, and I'm going to give myself permission to fail, because the only failure is not trying anything else. If you just concede to never trying again, then you for sure have failed. You're done. Because that's it. You know exactly where you are is where you're always going to be. Don't underestimate the feeling that's associated with doing the thing that you've been most terrified to do. The feeling, not just the fear of doing it, but even if it doesn't work out, there is an inherent feeling of accomplishment and purpose and virility that one gets just by going and trying to do the thing, even if it doesn't work out. The outcome is irrelevant. What the outcome is truly has nothing to do with the decision to do it. The decision to go do it is because there's a curiosity and a burning intuition in your gut that this is the path. And we want to project some future image in our brain of what we think it might look like, but really we don't know. We're just following this intuition. We're just following it and we're going that way. But there's a really great feeling of following the intuition. There just is. It feels good. It feels good to pick a direction and to walk in it. And sometimes you find yourself, whoops, I think I missed the exit, or I'm like, I think I went a little too far here. Let me get back to the trail. I mean, there's been times where I've been hiking and I look down and I'm like, shit, I'm off the trail. And I've been off the trail for a while and I didn't even realize it. How many times you've been driving down a highway and you're daydreaming or listening to a podcast, and next thing you're like, shit, I fucking missed the exit. And you got to pull over and you got to get off the next exit, turn around. Sure, it happens. And it could be frustrating. But it's not as frustrating as not doing anything. It's not as frustrating as sitting still. That's the thing that I think can kill you faster than anything else, is the sitting still and allowing the just the gears to grind and the tires to just be spinning on the pavement, not going anywhere. There's something to be said about trying the thing that you've always wanted to try. There's something about that. I think there's a lot of stories, for me, I would attach a particular expectation. Well, if I do this, then I expect that X, Y, and Z will happen. And then inevitably, when X, Y, and Z wouldn't happen, it would all shatter. And that was because I built a house on the foundation of X, Y, and Z happening. But I made that up. That was an agreement. That was a story. That's not real. I'm going to choose to do this thing, and I'm doing it because I'm feeling called to do it, and it feels good in my gut, and this is what I've always wanted to do, and I'm going to try it. And that's it. End of story. Zero. Period. Done. Sentence over. Move on. There is no, and I think it's going to be like this. It's okay to daydream. It's okay to plan. Of course, these things. But to attach yourself to the expectation that something has to look a certain way, you're going to miss it. How many times have you been looking for something? You're looking for like a particular earring or a piece of jewelry fell on the carpet, and you're looking for it, and you're picturing what it'll look like in the carpet, and you're looking for that, as opposed to just kind of keeping your eyes and your senses open. You know, you get too narrow focus. You're missing out. Maybe you're expecting it to be, perfectly on its side, but actually it's off crooked to the left, and you don't see it because that side has a particular color that blends in with the carpet. Like, you have to consider that what you're going to see is not what you're going to get. Or I should say, what you're going to end up getting is not what you think. The beauty of going and doing the thing is kind of in the beauty of doing the thing. It's just that is the beauty of it. And then if it all works out, well, yeah, I mean, that's euphoric. That's fantastic. But it's not everything. It's not everything. So, those are just some thoughts from me. And I appreciate you guys listening. Again, this was episode 3 of the GS podcast. I appreciate your ears. I appreciate your hearts. Thank you for listening. Hopefully this has stirred up some thoughts, some questions perhaps. If they have, fantastic. Or if it's just been entertaining, that's great too. Whatever. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.